Hi guys, and welcome to Newton View. This is my neighborhood that I have created out of the Sims of Pleasant View. I love Pleasant View. It's my favorite pre-made neighborhood. I love the Sims of Pleasant View, and I started playing my own version of Pleasant View where I remade the characters in a way that I felt suited the neighborhood and the character descriptions the best. And I did run into some trouble eventually where I could not load my neighborhood anymore, mostly because it just became very big and bulky. So I decided to change up my story a little bit and have a reason why they end up in a smaller neighborhood. So I created Newton View. As you can see, it's a desert landscape. The story that I'm going with is that a professor, you will still meet him, at the University of Pleasant View wanted to do an experiment. He decided that he wanted to check what would happen if he mixed smart milk with elixir of life. And the result was an explosion, a black hole, some strange circumstances, and suddenly all the Sims of Pleasant View and the surrounding area found themselves in an alternate reality. Suddenly they were living in a desert town called Newton View, and Pleasant View was a far-off distant memory, and they haven't spoken to each other about it, but everyone sort of wonders if it was just a dream, or why do they remember a place called Pleasant View. As for their jobs, as for their relationships, as for their families, all of that has been carried over. I am still in the process of moving everyone in, although I think I have most of the Sims. I've chosen some townies as well that I've included in this, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun, but it's also been a lot of hard work. So I'd like to introduce you to my Sims. We'll start off with the Goths, since they're kind of the most iconic. Excuse the fact that Bella's hair hasn't loaded. We'll just do it this way so that you can see she is in fact lovely and still has her black hair. Alright, so a little bit of details about the Goths. Bella came back. She was able to escape after Don and Dina had hatched a very devious plan. Nina was aware of this plan, but she wasn't in on it fully. Dina and Don wanted to get their hands on the Goth fortune, and they decided to kidnap Bella. Now, there's quite a few things that happened in the meantime. Suffice it to say, eventually Bella was able to escape. She got back to her family, and yeah, everything came to light. And the rumors that she was abducted by aliens turned out to just be some silly scheme and ideas that was concocted by Don and Dina to try and get people to not look at them as possible suspects. So they ended up in jail. We'll get to their story a little bit later. But Mortimer was very, very happy to have Bella back. They renewed their vows, and yeah, they're raising their family together. I'll just quickly give you a quick overview. The little girl with the red hair is in fact Nina's daughter. Nina unfortunately passed away. So this is her daughter with Dawn. The Goths adopted her, and they're taking care of her, giving her a good home and a stable family. The blonde little girl next to her is Dina and Dawn's daughter, but Mortimer thinks that she is actually his daughter. Then there's a little girl that looks an awful lot like Bella. She is Mortimer and Bella's daughter. They had her after Bella's return. The little girl with the hair that's not showing let's see if I can get her to show like this. Yes, that will be her, Mariana Goth. She is the actual daughter of Mortimer and Dina. And the little boy over here at the end that also looks like Bella is Bella's son with Dawn. Now, Bella did not cheat on Mortimer. Her and Mortimer wanted to go for a medical procedure where she would be able to have another baby, but Mortimer was getting a little bit older, and this was before her disappearance. And then Dawn, being in the medical field and being angry because Bella didn't want to have anything to do with him romantically, she was faithful to her husband, he used some connections and ended up exchanging the goods so that little Bernard ended up being his child and not Mortimer's. So that was part of his whole devious plan to kind of get back at Bella, but also to get his hands on the Goth fortune. Mortimer does not know that Bernard is not his child, though, so neither does Bella. They absolutely think that he's their son. Alright, so they are raising their family together. Let's quickly take a look at the home right next door. So this is Alexander and Lucy. They are very happily married. They're done with university. And they have a little boy called Luca and two very sweet little dogs. So they're very happy and they're living next to his parents. So all's well over there. Across from them, we have the land grabs. So this is quite a large family. Let's just get her hair back, sorry. Malcolm married his high school sweetheart, that's my headcanon, Sonia, and the two of them, although money is important to them and they want to expand the family business and all that, they actually also wanted to have a large family. They ended up with 5 children. They wanted a little girl as well. Their last and youngest is a little girl. And I don't think they will have more children. I think this is about it. But there is a little secret surrounding this family that I'm not going to give all the juicy details to. This was not my doing, actually. Some of the mods I had kind of took over. So we'll see how this ends up. I will go into greater detail when we get to their round to play. Alright, let's just go a little bit closer. On this side we have Pleasance and here we have Dreamer. Let's do Dreamer first. So let's quickly give you the details here. So obviously Darren Dreamer, my rendition of him, and this is Cassandra. So Cassandra did end up marrying Dawn originally. She did fall for all the charms. But it wasn't long before she realized what he was up to. And of course when her mother came back, that kind of sealed the deal as well. But they did have a daughter together from their marriage. This is Belinda, right? And then once she broke up with him, Darren was the good friend that he always was, and the two of them ended up starting a romance, getting married. They're very happy, and they have a little girl, Danae, and also a son called Samuel together, and they have a third baby on the way. So they're also very happy, very blessed. Really everything's going quite well for them. And I think I should also just show you Dirk. Here's Dirk. No one's hair is showing up. There we go. So Dirk is done with college, and he married Bronwyn, but not before he was actually married to someone else. He was married to a lovely student who I created. She was a dormie, red-haired girl. But unfortunately, she died during childbirth. I took out that mod since then because it just went haywire. So many of my Sims from this neighborhood unfortunately passed away with this. So I removed it, but I didn't bring those Sims back because the story had progressed quite far by now. So this little girl over here, Darlene, it's a nod to his mother, is actually his daughter from his first marriage, right? He was always friends with Bronwyn. She was studying with them as well. She's also one of the dormies I created. And eventually their friendship also became something more than friendship. They're happily married and they have a little boy called Aaron. So yeah, they don't live too far from his dad and they're quite happy and he's doing quite well in his job. So yeah, good things await them. Alright, so then over here we have Pleasance. So this is Daniel. This is a townie that I remade. So Kaylin Spitzig, that comes with the game. I'm sure I'm pronouncing her last name incorrectly. I didn't want another Kaylin in the neighborhood, especially one that ends up with Daniel. That felt kind of silly. So I renamed her Kayla. Alright? And yeah, he actually turned his life around after Mary Sue and him broke up. He really spiraled out of control and led a very, very bad example for his children. Didn't lead a nice life at all. But eventually he met Kayla and she really changed his life. And he became a decent person. As you see, he's a family Sim now. But yeah, he just started making an effort to get along with all his children. He has quite a few. Him and Don are in big competition, it seems like. And also he made peace with Mary Sue. I mean, they didn't get back together or anything like that, but he made peace with her, so they ended up on a good foot. His children, it took a while before they were willing to trust the change, but they all became friends. And yeah, he actually really has reached out to all the children that he has, or that he knows of, and he's trying to be a good dad for all of them. So yeah, he's doing quite well. The little secret that has to do with the land grabs unfortunately also affects this family, but we'll see how that plays out. I'm not going to spoil it. We'll leave that till we play with them. Alright, then on this side of the Pleasance we have the Matthews family. Now this is Angela and her husband. She did not end up marrying into the Brokes. There was just other Sims that had more chemistry with. So yeah, they kind of drifted apart when they went to university. She really liked Perry, and the two of them have kind of similar wants and wishes for their lives ahead, and they have lovely twin little boys, Andrew and Eddie, and yeah, it's also going quite well with them. I think he's in the education career, so lovely couple. Right across from them we have the Bowie family. Now this Sim is actually based on a Sim from Blue Water Village. I was looking for someone to pair Mary Sue up with, and this guy really fit the bill, so I recreated him. I made the story up that he came to Pleasant View, and Mary Sue and him were happily married, had a very nice relationship. By the way, this is Mary Sue and Daniel's daughter, the teenager that's standing over here. But yeah, as you can see, this is not Mary Sue. So Mary Sue, unfortunately, also tragically fell to the mod that I had. And when she gave birth to the youngest daughter, this is her over here, unfortunately she also passed away during childbirth, so she's no longer with us. So this is Tosha Go. She's actually a teen townie when you start the game, in a vanilla game. I aged her up, I gave her a backstory. She's an interior designer. She helped him design the rooms for the children in the house as they grew up. And yeah, eventually a romance blossomed between them. So from the kids that are here, this blonde little toddler is their only child. This, as I said, this is Daniel's daughter with Mary Sue. And then these three children are Mary Sue and Grace and Bowie's children. All right. So just so it all makes sense. Everything's going well. She has a good relationship with her dad. I'll just give you her name quickly. She is Danielle. Surprise, surprise. Daniel's daughter is Danielle. She has a good relationship with Daniel. But before Tosha came into the picture, he was really battling raising the three younger kids. And she just didn't feel like she could leave her brothers and sisters and the man that she felt like was more of a dad to her growing up than Daniel ever was. So she decided she was going to stay with them. She also gets along with Tosha very well. So yeah, they're quite a happy family. Okay, then next to her live Dustin Broke and his wife. Let's just do this so you can see what she looks like. He's doing so well in the business career. He really became such a good businessman. Kathy was also one of the dormies I created. I have a custom university. I don't like playing with the other university. I'm not so fond of all the dormies that's over there. So I created my own. And she was one of them. And yeah, they really hit it off very well. And then they have a little boy called Skip Broke. I just spelled it with a double P. It's a nod to his dad. And they're also happy. Everything's going real well. Have a nice house. So basically across the street, her hair will also unfortunately not show up. She has a baby on the way. This is Bo Broke and his wife Meadow. So you will remember Meadow as a teen townie when you start the game. And yeah, I never actually thought about pairing them up, but it came kind of natural once I started playing them. And yeah, her backstory is that she was adopted by Joe Carr along with Alvin Futa. Her and Alvin were adopted by Joe Carr because him and his first wife, couldn't have children. And yeah, they raised them as their own, and his first wife passed away. There wasn't really a first wife, that was just my headcanon. And eventually he married a randomly generated police officer that I wanted in my game. And but these two, Meadow and Alvin, went off to college at that stage. So yeah, we'll get to that family in a bit. So yeah, Bo is doing well as well. He is a family sim. And Meadow, of course, is a family aspiration as well. And their little boy is called Bowden Broke, so it's a nod to Bo. I like doing that with names, kind of linking it with family members. Alright, if you go up in the street over here, we have, alright, this is not really, they're not really king anymore. This is Jan Tellerman. You will not be able to see her hair if I show this, but alright. Jan was married to Gordon King, and they had 3 kids together. This little boy, this little girl, and the red-haired little boy. And yeah, Gordon was quite controlling towards her. Even when she wanted to leave or wanted out, she couldn't really. But anyway, eventually he became well known and the police was after him. He tried to escape and he ended up being in a helicopter that fell to the ground, and yeah, he survived it, but no one knows that he survived it. So eventually Jan moved on and she married a man called Enzo Lawrence, this blonde gentleman over here. But this blonde gentleman over here is not really Enzo. He's actually none other than Don. Don is also on the run because he escaped from jail, and he invented a new identity for himself. So no one knows this, including Jan. So she thinks she's married to this man that she knows, but actually it's Don Lothario. This is their daughter together, so they have a little girl. All right, so there's some little bit of an interesting Easter egg for you. Next to them we have the Burbs. So Lucy, you saw before, she's all grown up, married, has a little boy of her own, and her mom and dad went on to have 3 more children. They're quite happy. Happily married, wholesome family. The eldest of these 3 will be Jonathan Burb, and then we had Jenny Burb, who really looks like her mom, and Jessup is the youngest. I'm not sure that they will have any more children. I think they're done, because she would like to also have some type of career. So yeah, not much to say about them. They're lovely to play. I'm supposed to add in 2 dogs for them because they actually had some dogs in the previous neighborhood, and I will still do that. Over here we have, what I did was I created Sid Roseland, but I also created him family members. I needed someone to run the school, the primary school, and I decided to make his family be the ones to run that. So this is his mom, Sydney. His dad, Victor, who is the principal. Sydney is the teacher at the school. And then they have 2 teenagers, Williams Roseland and Courtney Roseland. So this is my creative license that I just decided I'm building his family out a little bit. He's an adult now since he's done with uni, and I will get him a dog now. So we will start him like you would usually get him in a vanilla game. Alright, so I have a nice school over here that I built myself, quite happy with it. This is the Cox family. I haven't built their home yet. So these are townies that I put together. Kennedy Cox and Ivy. I think her last name's Cooper when you start out. So Ivy Cox, this is my rendition of them. They had little Ken Cox, Yvette, and Kenya. Those are their kids. Alright, nice family to play as well. Next to them, we have the Maroney family. Okay, so this is quite an interesting story. So this is actually Marlena Hamilton. She is in the police, the law enforcement career, the police force, and she had the wool pulled over her eyes properly because Don, while he was on the run, also married her, pretending to be someone else, and he got away with it for pretty long, actually. They have these 3 children together, and then he just disappeared and eventually faked his own death. So it was quite an extravagant story. The elderly man over here is her maid. He was randomly generated, but she really fell head over heels for him, and she'd like to marry him, so we'll make that happen. Over here you have 2 blonde children. These 2 boys are not related to her at all. So the youngest of the 2 is Don and Dina's son, because when Don escaped from jail, Dina also escaped, and the 2 of them pretended to be husband and wife. So they did have a child together in that time. The eldest boy, though, is Dina and Daniel's child, because while Dina was on the run and Daniel was still living his wild life, the two of them ended up together, and yeah, they did have a son. But Daniel only just found out about this son of his, and Marlena has not told Mario yet. So the reason why they're called Maroni is this is the last name that Don actually used when he took on a false identity and when he married Marlena. So yeah, they all have a last name of a man that never really existed. But Marlena has found out about Daniel. She found some documentation, and she has to break the news to Mario that Daniel Pleasant is actually his dad. Now, I'm not going to let Mario leave the family, because his brother Arno, well, it will be his half brother, but really doesn't have a mom or dad left, because Dina died in a police chase with where the police were chasing her. She ended up in a car accident. So Dina is no longer with us, and Don faked his own death. So for all purposes, Arno doesn't have parents. So Marlena is really the only mother that he knows. And Mario, would always feel like this is his brother. So I don't think he would go move in with Daniel. He might start a friendship with him or so, but he's definitely not going to leave the family. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much their story. Marlena still doesn't know that Don was actually who he was, and she just genuinely thinks her husband died. Alright, let's quickly go down the street over here. Oh, the Sentowskis. So, this is a large family. This is Kaylin Langerak. She had a very turbulent life. She could not choose between Don and Daniel, to the point where she had a son called Caden with Don, and twin daughters, Daniela and Kira, with Daniel. In my game, it ended up like that. But eventually she realized that, neither of these two men were good for her. And she ended up with Officer Raymond Sentowski from the police force. They're very happily married, and they have 4 boys together. Amin, Colin, Troy, and then the youngest that don't show here, the little toddler, is called Mihailo. So yeah, they're quite happy together. She did at one stage lie to her husband, which wasn't very nice of her, because she wanted her son Caden to actually know Don, and she had figured out who Don was when he was pretending to be married to Marlena. And so she kind of sneakily let him meet with his son. But yeah, after he faked his own death, she genuinely thinks that he died, and so does Caden. So, yeah, Raymond doesn't know about this, but he's also never going to know, according to her. And she doesn't know that Don is alive at the moment and married to Jan Tellerman. Alright, across from them we have the Gils-Carbo family. So this is obviously Guppy Gils-Carbo. He's married to a maid that was just generated by the game. She was one of Daniel's conquests, so this little boy here, called Stefan, is actually her son with Daniel. before Daniel straightened himself out. I wondered what to do with her because it was obvious Daniel didn't want to marry her or anything like that. But then when I added in the townies, she really hit it off with Goopy. And yeah, I let them get married. They have 3 daughters together and they're quite happy. They run a photography business together, so it's quite nice. Next to them we have the Guma family. So this is Lilith. She obviously didn't end up marrying Darren Dreamer. No, not Darren. Dirk, sorry. Dirk Dreamer. The 2 of them, yeah, there was just more chemistry with other Sims in college, and they kind of drifted apart automatically. So I just didn't force it. My headcanon is that I think he's called Naidu. Yes, Naidu Guma was an exchange student from India, and the 2 of them really got along fabulously. Romance blossomed. They got married after college. She's trying to become a game designer. Her mom wasn't very pleased with the career choice, of course. But yeah, she's happy. She's enjoying what she does. And they had twins. So we have little Liliana and we have Nigel over here. Lovely. They're lovely to play as well, I have to say. Across from them, we have the Long family. So this is Benjamin Long and Brandy Broke. And yeah, I think Benjamin looks much better in my version than he does in the vanilla game. The 2 of them, their older kids are moved out by now, her older kids, of course, and have families of their own. And over here we have the children, the twin girls and son that Brandy had with Benjamin Long. So they're also a very happy family. Everything's going really well. Unborn baby Broke. I turned into a girl in this version. I decided I don't want it to be the same as always. So she's at college currently. Her name is Sandy. She's feisty, a feisty blonde. And we'll see. We'll introduce her at a later stage. But yeah, we'll see how she ends up turning out and who she ends up with. Okay, up here, I built my own fire station, but I still need someone to run it. I also have my own hospital, need someone to run it. And this is supposed to be like a veterinarian office and a pet store. I still need someone to run that. Over here I have, okay, surprise, surprise, with the last name Lawson, my own Sim that I created, Gustav Lawson. He's the police chief. And he married Brandy Letourneau. And together, well, she's actually she's not a policewoman. She is, in fact, in the intelligence career, but it's a nice mix. So, yeah, the 2 of them got married. He used to be in love with Demi Love, but she chose, there's a policeman with the last name Corker. I just can't get on his name now. I'll think of it later. Anyway, he used to be in love with her, but she didn't choose him. And he was heartbroken for quite a while. But yeah, when he met Brandy, he was really chuffed with her. 2 of them got married and started a family, so they're doing well. I also have the jail over here, so he kind of runs that whole situation there. And over here, all right, this is the Collins family. Now there is, I think he's from Blue Water Village, if I'm not mistaken. Some called, I wonder if it's Leland or Zealand, something like that. Zishan, there we go. Goodness, what a name. Zishan Collins. Okay. I made him the pastor of the neighborhood, and he is married to Florence, yes, you guessed it, Della Rosa. But she's now Florence Collins. And the 2 of them have 2 teens, I've decided. I created them like that. I decided that they should have a bit of a backstory. They have 2 teenagers, and their daughter is called Rosa, a play on Florence Della Rosa. This is where I got the Leland from. And their son is Leland. Now Leland is going through a bit of a phase, so yeah, we'll see. He's a bit of a romancer, and yeah, he's dressing a bit strange, so we'll see if his phase if his phase changes or if he stays in this strange phase. So these are the guys from Newton View. I have the subhoods, but I haven't built in the subhoods much, and I have some more Sims living in the subhoods. For instance, Demi Love and Officer Corker live in like the downtown area. So, but they don't even have a house yet. They're literally on an empty piece of land. So I'm still filling them in, and I will introduce them to you as soon as I'm done with that part of the neighborhood. But for now, this is Newton View, and we're going to run with a story that, you know, everyone's kind of wondering about the memory that they have of a place called Pleasant View. And yeah, trying to find their way here and live life here while they all have some type of memory of a place called Pleasant View. My intention is to recreate Julian Cook from the bin and make him related to this kind of nutty professor who made the big mess, and to move them in as well. So I was thinking Julian could be his son or something like that. But I haven't created them yet. I will still. And I also still need to create the Traveller family. So that will happen as well. You might wonder about this one lot over here that says passed away. All right. For storytelling purposes, I needed, also in order to connect all the family trees and things like that, I needed a Mary Sue, I needed a Dina, I needed a Nina. So I recreated them, but they will not be, as you see, the lot is called Temp. They will not be staying. I will need to, you know, kind of be rid of them after this. I just needed to have some character, you know, that I could have in the family tree. The same thing happened to Sandy Bruty. She also died off, and I also have a copy of her just for my character placeholder in the family tree, but she's in the one of the subhoods. So yeah, I will need to take care of all of that, but I look forward to starting to play these families and having you follow along if you'd be interested. I hope you would be, and I really look forward to it. It's been a big job, but it's fun, and we'll see how it turns out. And yeah, I'm hopeful that this will run better than the large Pleasant View map that comes with the game. So thanks for joining me, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.